Starting on my top bar, the first one I have here is my, let me put the laser pointer back on. So up here on my top bar, starting here, this is my pen tool, which I put up here, and then I actually don't use it as often as I thought I would, because instead of hitting my pen tool, I usually go over here. I'm not used to using the laser pointer. I usually go over here to my left-hand side where I have all of my pen settings. So rather than tap this pen tool up here, I usually will just come over here and tap one of these, and then it's got my settings already the way that I like it. So that's how I usually get to my writing tools, and these are a couple of ones that I set up for various purposes. While you're in your pen settings, over here on the left, this one right here is the thickness of your pen. So let's say I tap on this one that I usually use, and I'm like, well, for this specific purpose, I want it to be a little thicker. You'll go to, having trouble with that laser pointer. You'll go to this little line right here, and what you're gonna do is tap on that line, and then you're gonna drag up to make it thicker and drag down to make it thinner. So I can drag up and I can make it considerably thicker. But if I go down here to the bottom where I had it saved, I can still tap on it again and it'll take me back to my default. So it's not a permanent change. It's just temporarily, I want to make it thicker. Right underneath that is the black square here. You can click on and choose a color. So now I've made it thicker. I've made it purple. But then I can still tap on my favorites down here in the bottom left and it goes right back to my default setting. Tap on the color again to get that bar to go away. Same thing with my second tool up here at the top. This one here is my highlighter tool. You can tap on it. And again, I ended up not using it too much. Same thing you'll see over here on the left. These bottom two settings down here are two highlighter settings that I've been playing around with. So I would just tap on one of those. That would give me my highlighter tool. I'm just going to set up the sizes that I need for certain things in my planner, and then I can tap on it, get the size that's perfect for whatever I'm doing in that part of my planner, and then I can just tap on my color, choose the color I want to use. That way I'm not saving all my colors. I really just care about the opacity and the size that fits my need. So I don't use those two buttons too much since I go to my favorites most of the time. Obviously, this third button over is going to be an eraser, so I'll take this time to clean mine up. The eraser tool you'll see is very small, and then if you start pressing hard and erasing really quickly, it'll get really big. So you can do a very small area or a very large area, depending on how fast you move. Now we go over to this fourth button here, this little smiley face. That's the symbols button. I like to think of it as a built-in sticker book. So if I open symbols, and I'll have a separate tutorial about my symbols and how I got them in here. Essentially, you start out with these default ones that come in ZoomNotes. So you can tap on them and then tap in your planner and you'll have a little sticker. So anything that you use a lot, anything that you have in your sticker book that you put in your planner on a regular basis, I would put in here, and it gives you really easy access to it. And then while we have that, this one will work similar to any other program you've used. If you drag in the right-hand corner or the left-hand corner, you can easily resize it. If you tap in the middle, you can easily move it around. If you tap on one of these side squares, it will actually change the aspect ratio of it, which GoodNotes did not do. And then obviously up here in the left-hand corner, you have your undo button. If you tap and hold on the undo button, you also get the redo button. So I can undo that stretch I did or redo it. Tap on that to make it go away. Let's see, so I can, back on the laser pointer, off the laser pointer, back to my symbols. Okay, so from there, if I tap and hold on this image, it will highlight it again, and I can move it around. You can also, laying my hand on the wrong place. You can also tap and hold on, tap and hold on that corner, and now I am in the duplicate option, so I can put it down again. So any of these red squares, if you grab it and move it around, it's going to resize it. If you tap and hold until this picture shows up, then it's duplicating. So easy resize, tap and hold, duplicate. And then up here in the left-hand corner, right here is your trash can. Help you delete items. So if I tap back on my shape tool, select one of my, tap and hold, select my, I just put one down. Select it, you can also delete it that way. Tap and hold, delete from the trash can. Tap and hold, delete from the trash can. I notice when I'm on my symbol tool, sometimes it's a little bit delayed about noticing that I deleted it. So I can actually delete all these while I'm on the symbol tool, and there it goes. Yeah, that only seems to happen to me when I'm using the symbols tool. If I am using, let's see, this one here in the left-hand corner that looks like the crosshair, that's also a selection. I don't have that problem. But on the select tool, or on the shape tool, on the symbol tool, sometimes I've noticed it has a delay. This next one over is your text box. Similar to your pen tool in the lower left-hand corner there, you'll see I have some saved settings. These are all fonts that I got from the Bohoberry website. I can tap on one of those saved settings and tap with my pencil, and it'll start a text box. Or if you don't want to use one of your settings, you can go, once you get here for your text, you can tap on this. And the good thing about ZoomNotes is it will use the iPad system fonts. So any font that you install in the iPad system fonts will show up here in ZoomNotes, and you can use them to type. So that's how I have these custom Bohoberry ones. You can tap the little box, choose a color, tap the number next to it, drag this up to a size, tap the number to close that, and then you can start typing. After you type it, if you decide you don't like the way that it looks, you can tap and hold with your finger, press select all, go back down to your settings, change the color, change the size, change the font. And then when you're happy, just tap off with your pencil. And then when you tap again, it will have whichever setting you previously used there again. So if you're labeling a bunch of things on a page, all you have to do is get the first one set up the way you like it. And then every text box that you create after that will use those same settings. Now, in your text box, you'll see I have this blue square here in the page. If you tap on that with your pencil, this will let you move the text box around. If you tap and hold in the corner, I can resize the text box to be about the size that I need. Tap the blue square to move it around. And that's pretty much it. If I tap off of it, if I need to get back on, I would just press and hold with my finger. Now it's working as a picture, as a move object. You can resize your text by grabbing one of these squares, or you can tap and hold in the square and it'll let you duplicate it again. One thing I think I did not go over before was the light blue square that shows up is the rotation tool. So you can always rotate around like that. And then just tap off of it when you're done. And if you need to change your text, you can just double tap on your word and now you can change it. You can hit enter, do a new line, and then tap off when you're done. Double tap on it if you would like to edit it again. And then again, from here with your finger, press and long hold, select all, and then you can change the settings for a word you've already typed. And then tap off with your pencil. And the last tool that I have up here on the top toolbar is this arrow tool. This is a straight line tool. You can turn it on there. I guess I can't do both. So you would, I am not good with this laser pointer. You would tap on this one to get your line tool, and then over here again you can do the thickness and the color. So I'll tap on my line tool go over here, increase my thickness by dragging up, and then you can easily draw straight lines. After you draw them, you can tap and hold and move the angle of your line using either of these yellow squares. And then you have this center square in the middle where you can put text if you would like to put a label on your line. Double tap it, gets you back in there. And then again, you can move it around. So I'll just tap on the thing on the trash can. Yep, there we go. Tap, trash can, long hold, trash can. Now I'm doing this with my finger, not the Apple Pencil. Press and hold, trash can. Oh, there we go. See, when I'm on that tool in the upper left, it looks like the crosshairs, it's instant. But when I'm on the other tools, there's always a delay there. So those are the main buttons I keep on the left. On the right, the first three are my, I guess if I need to put something back down here, I'll just put a couple of pictures here. On the left-hand side, I have my selection tools. The top one, you can tap and hold. It'll select the object, bring up this menu. That's where you get to your cut and your copy and your paste. You can also crop from here. Works very similar to GoodNotes. You can do a square, or you can change it down here at the bottom to Freehand, and you would just draw around what you wanted and hit done. Also here from the crop tool, you'll see there's a resize option. You can automatically resize your object. There's the opacity option, and you can change it from black and white to color thresholds. Don't really use that one very often. The second tool over here on the left is the square selection tool. If you wanted to select multiple items on the page, just tap your pencil down, drag it around, and now I have both these items selected. I can resize them together. I can rotate them together. And then the third button down is the freehand selection tool. Works the same way. I could select them both in the same way and manipulate them. But it will also work like the lasso tool in GoodNotes, where I could draw a little circle on him and I can move him around. So maybe if I have these sort of overlapped and I don't want to get them both, I can use it and select just him and move him. And that's the setting I did earlier, where you can change your selection tool, and you can actually go into select in the settings here, and you'll see down here the enclose or the overlap. So the overlap will work like the lasso tool in GoodNotes. If you change it to enclose, you'll see if I select him, nothing gets selected. I have to make sure I have the entire thing enclosed, and then, oops, still didn't have it. I have to make sure I have the entire size of that picture enclosed. And it's not the size of the picture. I can't just go around him like this. You'll see it doesn't get him. But if you tap and hold on this, that entire box that comes up has to be enclosed in your freehanded drawing tool here, or it will not pick it up. So you can tap on the selection tool again, tap on the settings. I like to keep it on overlap. It just makes it easier for me to pick up items. We'll go ahead and delete that. Tap and hold, delete. Tap and hold, delete. Okay, my fourth tool down here is my shape tool. Tapping on it once will change to the tool. Tapping on it again will open the settings. This is the basic shape tools. You can see you have these different shapes up here you can choose from. On the square, you can make the corners a little more rounded. You can go down here and you can do just a border, just the fill, or the border and the fill. You can add a shadow, you can change your colors. And then you can just draw your shape. You can tap back on your shape tool. You can make changes to it. You can give it dashed lines. This down here, I have another tutorial on creating links. But down here is where you can link to the web, a bookmark, or another page in your planner, and this will take you into that. But I have a whole tutorial on setting that one up. So it's a basic shape tool. This next one down here is a fill tool. I haven't really needed to use it yet, but I think it's kind of neat. You can tap anywhere on the screen and it'll just do a blanket fill. So maybe if you had a table, sorry, readjust it and close it again. If you have a table or something and you want to fill a cell, you could easily just pick your color and tap on a cell and fill everything. This one down here is obviously the laser pointer I've been using, but normally I keep it as the table tool, which will allow you to draw a basic table. And you can choose your columns and your rows and your line thickness. There's a lot of options there for just drawing a basic table. So then I think if you do that with the fill tool, you should be able to just fill one cell. Yeah, so if you wanted to create the table to create your calendar and then fill in certain box, the fill tool would be kind of neat. Then the next thing here is the dock down there at the bottom. Then we went over the line thickness. The next one here is the color picker. And there's different options here for how you want to go about doing this. If you open up your color tool, over here on the right hand side at the bottom is the palette option. So you can see I've created a custom palette here. If you would like to create a palette, you can just go here to palettes, hit the plus sign, and it creates this palette. I'm not sure if there's a way to get it to create a blank palette. So far, every time that I've created one, it's just copied a different one. So if I was on this default palette and I hit create new palette, it keeps duplicating it. I don't know if there's a way to create it without doing that. So what I end up doing is going down to the one I just created and then tap and hold on the box here until it gets the yellow outline and then drag it off. Which is a little tedious. I'm not sure if you have to do it that way or not. So there's a couple different ways to create your color palette. I think you have to leave one color in there at all time. So I'll leave the red one for right now. You can go to this Rgb Mixer here and choose colors and make a color. And then they also have your typical color wheel where you can go around to find colors. From here, they have the RGB and the HSV values that you can enter. So for colors that I've been using in, say, I can open up Procreate. So you can see if I were to choose one of my colors here in Procreate and tap on value, I get the RGB values here. And so I've been using those numbers here to enter them into ZoomNotes. To get them into Procreate, I actually use the hexadecimal value here, and then that will give you at least the RGB colors. I haven't seen anywhere in ZoomNotes where you can enter a hexadecimal value. I've just seen where you can enter these two values here. But for these planners that I got from Bohoberry, I found the easiest thing to do if I want to make it matching, and I should probably move to a page I haven't totally screwed up. Up here in this top corner, you see this little dropper tool. I like to do that, and then you can tap on the colors in the planner, and then you see it picked it up, and then you can see it picked it up And you can take any of these boxes on any of these pages and just tap and hold until you get the little square, and then drop it over here. Now I can get rid of this red one. So I would just take my color dropper, come out here, tap on this tab. Now it picks up this pink, drag it over here, tap on the color picker, go to this third tab, tap and hold, drag it over here. And so that way I can get matching colors from my planner if it, wasn't on my color picker, if it didn't come with any values. So I would just keep going until I picked up all these colors. And then that's how I got my custom palette for my other planner, my main 2019 planner that I've been using. You can see my color palette was picked off of these tabs here so that I can have perfectly matching colors whenever I want to do something in my planner. And as you can see, these were universal between the two planners. I think they're universal per workspace. So I only have one workspace, and I think they all get the same color palettes. The button under the dropper here will split between your color palettes and your global color palettes. So I don't have an extra workspace. You can let me know in a comment if you know. But I think these color palettes are specific to a workspace. And if you tap it again, these global color palettes, I believe, go across workspaces. That's just what I'm assuming, but I don't know. I keep mine on my color palette here. You can hit the edit button, and this you can rearrange the order that they're in, or hit the little minus if it's a color palette you don't actually want to use. And I don't actually use anything except this one right now. Then tap that to close it. And this next button under the color picker is your opacity setting. You can change your opacity in quite a few different places. And then under that is the favorites that I went over earlier. So the last set of buttons are the ones over here on the right hand side. Let me go back to the laser pointer. Yep, there you go. Are these ones over here. As we talked about, this first one is the layers tab. So you can see here in my 2019 planner, I like to set up several different layers. My bottom layer is my page layout, which I keep locked unless I'm specifically working on a page layout. A lot of the layouts in this planner are not ones that I personally want to use, so I've been making my own and sticking them on top. You can see here, I put this calendar over this page here, but it's locked, so that means I can add elements on top and it won't get messed up. And the layer above that is my label for my tabs, which you can see. I changed all of my tab layers at the top. And then I also have, I don't know why I have this one in the middle. Oh, yes, I do. I have these next three here for my monthly pages. See, this one I have here in the middle is my habit tracker. And underneath my habit tracker, and actually I do them both. I have this writing tab and this habit tracker tab. So the main tab, or the main layer I will be using throughout my planner is this writing one up here at the top. It's set to current right now. And that's going to be what I do most of my writing with. But if I have anything that I want to decorate and I want to add some color to, I color under it so that it comes up underneath my line. Same thing with my habit tracker. I have coloring underneath the habit tracker. So if I were to go to my coloring tab on my habit tracker, and then I can choose just this purple pen. If I wanted to, nope. So if I go down to my coloring tab and I make it my current tab, I can choose this purple pen, and then you can see I can color in my habit tracker. And then once you tap off of it, see it goes underneath my habit tracker, so it stays nice and neat. So that's why I have a separate coloring tab I keep calling them tabs, coloring layer. And then my habit tracker layer is on all my monthly pages. The writing is where I keep my writing throughout the months and the weeks. And then my top layer here, again, in my other tutorial, I talk about the links that I've set up on each of my planners. I'm going to undo that coloring. And okay, that looks good. The next button over from your layers is your Apple Pencil settings, which I have not messed with. I tried to mess with the single finger down here. When you leave it on pan, it's whenever you put your finger on here, the page moves around. If you change it to rub out, then it changes to an eraser with your finger. And you'll notice now when I put this down that the page doesn't move anymore, which I really liked. Same thing, you can change it to select. If I had an object on the page, it would select it again. It has your selection tool. It's not moving your page around. And I thought that was really neat. But if I change it to either of these options, and then I try to tap on any of my tabs. I know you can't see my hand, but I'm tapping on all my tabs and the links aren't working. And I had it on rub out, and you can see when I'm tapping the screen, the little eraser button shows up. So none of my links work. So unless I leave it on pan, I'm gonna change. My links don't work. So that would be a great feature for them to add. I would love to be able to leave this on rub out or select and have my links still work, because when I have it on pan, I am constantly accidentally touching it and moving the page around. But it's a little nuance. Hopefully maybe they will fix that at some point. The next one over is the page tool that I leave on. On this one I still have my sound tool here that I don't use, so I can probably turn that off. And then you have your share button. If you would like to export any files, you can print, you can email, you can put it in your iCloud, you can export it as a PDF, an image, you can give it a name. So there's a lot of options here similar to sharing it out of GoodNotes. This last one here with the 2 arrows will get rid of your interface. I don't really see a need for that unless maybe you want to use it for taking screenshots, but I don't ever keep it that way. And then on here on the right is my page tool docked here on the side. This button here will take you back. This one will take you forward. And then the one in the middle is the outline. So it's got all the pages in my planner. And then the one at the very, very bottom, you can't really see it with it being cut off here. It says Untitled. If you tap on the word Untitled, this is actually going to take you to your page properties. So I could name my page. I don't really see a need to do that, but you can. You can put a tag on your page if you want to be able to search for it. You can set it to where this page has its own layers. Right now, all of my pages use those same universal layers, and that has been working for me. But if you have a reason why, maybe you have one page that you want to have a whole bunch of layers on, go ahead and set it to have its own layers and work on that. And then above the word January, you have the paper with the little cogwheel. And this takes you into your paper settings, which I really don't want to mess with on my actual planner. So we will go back into this one. This one gets me in trouble sometimes if I'm not paying attention. So when you just open it, you can see your current settings. So right now, here is the width and height of the planner that I'm currently using. It is in landscape. So all these options are the same. As soon as I start messing with these, it will change your current page. So if you tap on them to see what they do, and then you hit done, if I go into my outline, you can see this page is now really weird because I changed its layers, or its settings, and the first time I did that I had no idea what I did, and it took me forever to figure out what I had done. So now this page is all messed up, and it'll be like this forever. Not forever, but if you don't know what to do to fix it, it'll be like this forever. If you go back into your page settings, I won't do it now, but the easiest thing that I found to do is go back to custom, go back to landscape, and then I just typed in this box here, the actual number that it's supposed to be. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. So I would just compare it to another page and I would put in, you know, some random numbers, and hit done. And you can go back and forth, and it fixed it a little. So yeah, if you ever find yourself messing it up, just go to the next page, look at its page settings. You can see it is 338 by 481. And then I would go back to the page I messed up, and I would just fix those numbers here. I would do them exact, though. I'm just not taking the time to do that right now. And hit done, and then next, and back, and no, it's mostly pretty close. Above the settings, you'll see this page with a tiny little plus sign in it, and that is the subpage feature, which I will do a separate tutorial on. But for a quick demo, if you create a subpage, what you can essentially do is you can create a really tiny little page and stick it on your planner somewhere, and if you're doing something later on, you can just double tap on that page and go into a writing tool, take all kinds of notes on it, and now you have another page that opened up there, this little page. I guess I could go back to this. You have this new one here now that has the page with the up arrow, and that will take you back up to your main page, and you'll see it's grayed out if there's not another page to go up to. So it's a way of putting in a ton of information on a page if you would like to do that. And I think that about covers it for all of the interface. Again, I don't use the ones down here in the bottom left, and I wish I could make them go away. So hopefully that'll get done in a future video. So I think that'll cover it for my intro video. I want to do a couple other ones for some tasks that I do. If you have any requests or ideas for a tutorial video, leave me a comment. That would be great. And thank you so much for watching.